Hi, my name's Sam and I live in Portsmouth, but I was born and raised in the east of England in a city called Norwich. And I was raised in a home with my mum, who was a single mum I had two older brothers, and I was raised in an area called Lakenham. This was quite a rough estate, rough community, known for being council heavy, and I remember from very young there being a lot of trouble in our home and in the area in which we lived. What happened was a bunch of lads that lived in the area from my brother's school, they knew my brother and they used to gang up together, and they used to inflict pain, chase him down the street, and really just cause a lot of torment and havoc to our family and to my brother's life. Many times I remember that we would come home from church and our house, it would be either egged, or there would be stones that would smash the window, or it would have been broken into and things would have been stolen. This happened quite regularly, and it really affected my mum, but it affected my eldest brother. He grew up with a lot of hatred and a lot of anger towards these people that were doing this to him, but it caused him to inflict his anger in the home. But unfortunately, it got a bit too much for my mum, and at the age of 16, he had to move out because she was unable to raise 3 young boys. And so he moved out, and we moved away. From all of the pain, through all of the eggs and the rocks and the things that these boys were doing, and we moved not far from where we lived to another place called Tuxwood, which was another area in Norwich. And I remember from being there not long, within 2 weeks, I was 10 years old, within 2 weeks our house had been egged and rocks would have been thrown. It was like the same thing, repeat. Wherever we lived, this was just something happening in our home, and the real issue wasn't that it was the things on the outside, though, although it caused a lot of pain in our lives. The real issue was happening on the inside of the home. Within the 4 walls, there was so much anger and hatred and so much fighting. Because my eldest brother was bullied, he would bully my other brother, and then it, just like a waterfall trickling down, it came to me. And my life was severely bullied from my brothers, and I felt very rejected, very alone, and a lot of pain, a lot of abuse and violations were thrown at me. Many times I'd just be punched, I'd be called names, and it affected me, and I didn't want to have this, I didn't want to live around this, and so I'd threaten to leave or run away, but a lot of the time I heard just from downstairs or being in the room, my mum and my brother arguing and shouting, and my brother would just flip out, explode. He'd punch holes in the walls, he'd slam doors, pictures would be smashed, and my mum would say, "That's it, I can't cope, I can't handle this." And what she would do is she would threaten to leave. And I remember one time she left, and I'm in tears. I have no idea where she's going. She says, "I'm not coming back. I can't deal with this anymore." And there's so much mess and brokenness in my family's life. I took this to high school with me and viewed everyone as they violated me. And so I don't trust anyone. I have issues of rejection, and so to make sure that I don't get this same infliction, I have to inflict it on others so that I protect myself. And I became a bully in my school, and I got involved in different things, fights, one occasion done for assault, standing sitting in front of the head of my year, and she says the words to me, "This isn't like you, Sam. This isn't who you are." And I knew this isn't what I wanted to be. I didn't want to be angry. I didn't want to be frustrated. I didn't want to bully other people, but it was a response from what I'd had from a very young age and what I'd grown up in the environment I'd grown up in. And it got quite bad. It never really got so bad because I was involved in football. My focus and my mind, and I was able to play at a fairly decent level. It distracted me from a lot of the other things the world was throwing at me. I never got caught up in drinking. I never got caught up in going partying or chasing girls or anything like that. I just cared about football. It was my focus, and that was where my life was. And I remember at 15 years old hearing about my friend on the football pitch in Slow Bottom Park in Norwich. After the game, he fell onto the floor. Everyone ran to him, but he had passed away. He had died on the football pitch. And I really contemplated my life from that, because I thought, what if that was me? And I really began to think, perhaps for the first time, because I'd grown up in church, and my mum attended the Potter's House Norwich Church, and I'd known that if I would have died then I would have been separated from God, and I wouldn't have been able to enter into heaven because of the hurt, rejection, pain, and things that I had caused other people, and in my life, the unforgiveness, the bitterness towards my family. I couldn't live this way. I couldn't. And so what happened was, I went to the Potter's House Norwich, and I went down to the altar and I prayed. And I prayed many times before this, but for this time, something happened inside of me, and I really meant it. I understood what Jesus had done for me, that he had forgiven me of all my sin, and he had erased it, my past, the things that had happened. And so what that did in me was it allowed me to forgive those that had hurt me. And I did that. My brothers, God has put together our family. Jesus Christ has changed my life so amazingly. No longer am I angry. No longer do I feel like a violation or people have violated me. And here I am with my own family, my own son, that he doesn't have to experience the things that I've gone through, because Jesus Christ changed me.